The night was colder than usual, and the streetlights flickered weakly. A young man walked alone, his steps echoing on the empty road. He pulled his jacket tighter, trying to ignore the strange silence around him. There were no cars, no voices, not even the sound of the wind. Only his own footsteps kept him company. Suddenly he froze. From the distance came a faint sound, soft and broken, almost like someone crying. His heart beat faster. He looked around, but the road was empty. The sound came again, clearer this time. It was not a normal cry. It was sharp, trembling, and almost unnatural. Curiosity pulled him forward. His shoes crunched over the gravel as he followed the strange noise into the forest beside the road. The trees stood tall and dark, blocking most of the moonlight. As he moved deeper, the sound grew stronger. It was not just crying now, it was mixed with pain, like someone begging for help. "Hello?" He called out, his voice shaking a little. "Is someone there?" There was no answer, only the same broken sobs. He moved carefully, pushing branches out of his way. Then, in a small clearing, he saw her dot at first. He thought she was just a girl lying on the ground. Her body was weak, and her clothes were torn, as if she had been running for miles. But when she lifted her head, his breath caught in his throat. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark, a strange silver light that no human eyes could ever have. Strange marks covered her arms, like lines of light running under her skin. She looked at him with fear, yet also with desperation. Her voice was soft, broken, and strange, as if she struggled to speak his language. "Help me." The young man took a step back. Every instinct told him to run. This was not normal. She was not normal. But something inside him, something stronger than fear, kept him frozen in place. "What happened to you?" he asked carefully. She tried to stand but collapsed back onto the ground. Her hands shook as she reached toward him. "Please. Not safe. They come." The forest around them felt heavier, as if the darkness itself listened. He looked over his shoulder nervously. "Who's coming?" She didn't answer. Instead, her glowing eyes filled with tears. "Hide me, please." His mind raced. He didn't know who she was or what she was, but she was hurt, terrified, and begging for help. Leaving her here didn't feel right. He bent down, hesitating only for a moment, then lifted her gently into his arms. Her body was lighter than he expected, almost weightless, as if she wasn't fully real. The walk back to his house felt endless. Every shadow looked alive, every sound made him jump. He felt like something or someone was watching them. But when he glanced behind, there was nothing but trees. By the time he reached his small home at the edge of town, his shirt was damp with sweat. He carried her inside quickly, locking the door behind him. He laid her on the couch, but she grabbed his sleeve tightly, refusing to let go. "Don't leave me," she whispered. He knelt beside her. "I'm not leaving. But you need to tell me who you are." Her eyes flickered with fear, and for a long moment, she said nothing. Then, in a trembling voice, she muttered, "Not human." The words hit him like ice. He wanted to laugh, to deny it, but he couldn't. Her glowing eyes, her strange body, her broken speech, it was all too real. "Then, what are you?" he asked. She didn't answer directly. Instead, she pressed a hand against her chest where faint light glowed beneath her skin. "Escape," she whispered. "They hunt me." He swallowed hard. His hands trembled as he rubbed his face. He had just wanted to take a simple walk. How had it turned into this? A strange girl, no, not a girl, an alien, was now in his living room, asking for protection. Before he could speak again, her body tensed. Her head turned sharply toward the window. He followed her gaze, and his heart stopped. Outside, through the thin curtains, a bright flash of light moved across the sky. Not a star. Not a plane. Something else. She sat up weakly, clutching his arm. "They close." He moved quickly, shutting the curtains and turning off the lights. His voice was hushed but urgent. "Who are they? What do they want from you?" Her lips trembled. "If they find me, I will not live." The silence between them was heavy. His thoughts screamed at him to get out, to run far away. But her grip on his arm was desperate, her eyes pleading. Finally he whispered, "You're safe here. I'll hide you." Her glowing eyes softened, as if his words gave her strength. She nodded slowly and leaned against him, exhausted. For the first time, he realized how close she was. She was strange, yes, but there was something fragile about her, something that made him forget his fear. She trusted him completely, even though they had just met. When he tried to move her to the couch again, she shook her head. "No, don't go. If I stay alone, they will find me." He sighed deeply. He was in way over his head, but he couldn't push her away. "All right," he said quietly. "I'll stay." The night dragged on, tense and silent. Outside, strange lights moved across the sky, scanning the town. Every time a flash passed, the girl shivered and buried her face against him. Hours later, just as his eyes grew heavy, a sound came from outside the house. A sharp noise. Footsteps. He froze. Her hand clutched his tightly. Her whisper was barely audible. "They hear." The front door rattled once. Then again his heart pounded. He didn't know what was outside or who. But he knew one thing. His life had just changed forever. The night was heavy with silence. He sat in the corner of his room, staring at the strange girl lying on his bed. The curtains were shut tight, the lights dimmed. Every sound outside felt like a threat. His mind spun with questions. Who was she? Why did she come here? And most of all, why had she chosen him? The girl's glowing eyes shifted toward him. She looked weak but calm, her silver gaze never leaving his face. She whispered softly, her voice broken and strange. "You, safe." He swallowed. "I don't feel safe," he admitted. "Not with you in my room, not with those things outside." She shook her head slowly. Not outside now. They search. But here, safe with you." Her words unsettled him. She sounded so sure, but he couldn't understand how she knew. He wanted to ask more, but she closed her eyes as if the conversation was finished. Minutes passed. He thought she had fallen asleep, but then she opened her eyes again and whispered, "No, alone." "Stay," he frowned. "You want me to stay in here, in my own room?" Her hand reached out weakly, gripping the blanket. "If I stay alone, they will find me, always find me." He sighed, rubbing his forehead. "You're not making sense." But when he looked at her trembling hands, something inside him softened. She wasn't just strange, she was terrified. And despite his fear, he couldn't turn her away. He pulled a chair close to the bed. "Fine, I'll stay." Her eyes flickered with relief, and she whispered, "Thank you." The night stretched on. He leaned back in the chair, trying to stay awake. The room was quiet, but every now and then, he thought he heard faint humming, almost like the air itself was vibrating. He glanced at her, and his suspicion deepened. The light beneath her skin pulsed gently, in rhythm with the strange sound. "Are you doing that?" he asked. Her eyes opened slowly. "Protect." "Protect? From what?" She didn't answer. Instead, she sat up with effort, her gaze turning to the window. "They look always, but they not see and hear, because of me." His chest tightened. Was she hiding them both with some kind of power? If so, how long could she keep it up? Before he could speak again, a knock echoed from the front door downstairs. He jumped to his feet, his blood running cold. The girl's expression darkened. "Not open. Danger." His legs shook. "It could just be a neighbor," he whispered. "Someone passing by." Her glowing eyes burned into him. "Not human, not open." The knocking grew louder, more urgent. Then silence. He stood frozen, listening. After a long pause, the sound of footsteps faded away from his door. He turned back to the girl, his heart still racing. "How do you know all this? How do you know who's out there?" She looked at him with sadness. "Because I was prisoner. I escaped. They follow." His stomach dropped. Prisoner? Prisoner of who? Her lips trembled. Men. Black clothes. White rooms. Pain. He stared at her, his mind trying to process. "Government," he muttered under his breath. "You're telling me they were experimenting on you?" Her silence was answer enough. He sat back down slowly, running a hand through his hair. His world had just turned upside down in one night. He had found a girl, an alien running from people who wanted to use her, and now she was here, in his room, trusting only him. "Why me?" he asked quietly. "Why did you let me find you?" Her eyes softened. "Because you stop, you hear me, others walk away." He didn't know whether to feel honored or cursed. Hours passed. The night was long and restless. He dozed off in the chair more than once, only to wake and find her staring at him with those silver eyes. Each time she whispered the same words, "Don't leave me." At first it made him uneasy, but slowly he began to see the truth. She wasn't just frightened, she was alone. Terribly, hopelessly alone. When the first light of morning crept through the curtains, she finally lay still, asleep. He stood and stretched, careful not to wake her. He moved to the window and peeked outside. Black vans were parked on the far end of the street. Men in dark suits stood near them, scanning the area. His heart pounded. They were here. He rushed back to the bed, shaking her gently. "Wake up, they're outside." Her eyes opened at once, wide and alert. "Too fast," she whispered. "They close." He grabbed his jacket. "We can run. There's a back door." But she shook her head firmly. "If we run now, they see. If we hide, they pass." He hesitated. Every instinct told him to run, but her voice carried a strange certainty. He crouched down beside her. "Then what do we do?" She looked into his eyes. "Trust me." Before he could reply, the air around them seemed to shimmer faintly. The strange humming returned, louder this time. His ears buzzed, his vision blurred. He felt like the whole room was vibrating. "Stay close," she whispered. Footsteps pounded on the porch. Heavy boots. A knock this time louder, shaking the door. He held his breath. The knocking turned into pounding. The door rattled under the force dot, and then silence. He dared to glance out the window. The men in black were walking back to their vans, frowning, confused. One of them shook his head, as if the house had vanished from their sight. He turned back to her, shocked. She looked pale, her breathing shallow. "Power, strong, but cost." "What cost?" he asked quickly. She closed her eyes. "Takes from me." He realized then what she meant. Every time she used her power, it drained her life. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her fragile form. She was risking everything just to survive. And somehow she had dragged him into it too. When she opened her eyes again, her voice was barely a whisper. "You still here? You not leave?" He nodded slowly. "I'm here." Her lips curved into the faintest smile before she drifted back into sleep. He sat there, listening to her quiet breathing. His mind was filled with fear, confusion, and questions. But one thought grew stronger than the rest. He could walk away. He could leave her here and never look back. But deep inside, he knew he wouldn't, because for some reason, she had chosen him. And now, whether he liked it or not, her fight was his fight too. The morning sun lit the room softly, but the shadows outside were growing darker. He had no idea what was coming next. But he knew one thing: his life would never return to normal. The morning sun did little to ease the fear inside his chest. The girl was still asleep on his bed, her breathing soft but uneven. He had barely slept. Every sound outside made him tense. Every shadow felt like a threat. When he finally stepped to the window, he froze. Black vans still sat quietly at the far end of the street. The men in dark suits were still there, waiting, watching. They had not given up. He turned back to her and whispered, "They're still here." Her silver eyes opened slowly, weak but alert. She sat up with effort, pressing her hand against her chest where faint light glowed. "They won't stop," she said in her broken voice. "They never stop." He rubbed his temples. "What do they want with you? Why are they so desperate to find you?" Her lips trembled. She hesitated before whispering, "Because I am key." Key? Key to what? Her gaze dropped to the floor. To power, to weapon. The weight of her words sank in. They weren't just hunting her. They were trying to use her. She wasn't just an alien running for freedom. She was something far bigger, something dangerous. Before he could speak again, she reached out and touched his arm gently. "You don't believe, but you see soon." He shook his head. "I already believe more than I ever wanted." The silence in the room was broken by a sudden noise outside, deep rumbling in the sky. He rushed to the window. At first, he thought it was thunder. But then he saw it. Strange lights moving across the clouds, shifting in unnatural patterns. His throat went dry. "That's not normal." She stood shakily, her glowing eyes fixed on the sky. "They send machines to track me." He pulled the curtain shut. "If they're looking for you, then this house won't stay safe for long. We can't just sit here." Her gaze snapped to him, sharp and fearful. "You want leave?" He hesitated. "I don't want to. But maybe we have to. If they find us here, we won't have a chance." She shook her head, stepping closer. "Danger. Outside. More danger than inside. You don't know." "Then tell me." His voice cracked with desperation. "You keep saying they. Who are they? Humans? Aliens? Government? Who?" Her silver eyes glistened with tears. She whispered only one word. "Both." His stomach dropped. "Both? You mean humans and aliens are after you?" She nodded slowly. "Humans take me. Aliens watch me. Both want me. You only one. Protect." The room spun around him. He sat down heavily on the chair. "This is insane," he muttered. "I'm just an ordinary guy. I don't know how to fight men in black vans. I don't know how to fight aliens either." She kneeled beside him, her glowing eyes searching his. "You saved me. That is enough." He didn't answer. His mind screamed at him to run far away, but his heart couldn't ignore her fragile voice. Before he could think further, a sudden sharp knock echoed on the door downstairs. Both of them froze. The knocking came again, harder this time. Her grip tightened on his arm. "Not open," she whispered, panic in her voice. But then, a voice called out from outside. A man's voice, calm and friendly. "Hey there. Sorry to bother you. We're just checking on the neighborhood. Some strange reports last night. Mind if we ask a few questions?" He exchanged a glance with her. His instincts screamed it was a trap. The girl shook her head furiously. "Not human," she mouthed silently. The knocking grew louder, more urgent. "Sir, please open up. It's important." He stood, his body shaking. "They'll break the door," he whispered. Her silver eyes glowed brighter. "I hide us. But cost." He looked at her pale face. She was already weak. If she used her power again, would it break her completely? Before he could stop her, the air in the room shimmered faintly, the same humming sound vibrating through the walls. His vision blurred. The knocking downstairs stopped abruptly. Silence followed. Then came muffled voices outside. Nothing inside. House is empty. But the signal was strong here. "Check again. No move. We'll scan the next street." He dared to peek through the curtain. The men in black were walking away. The vans rumbled to life, moving down the street slowly. He turned back to her. She was slumped against the bed, her skin pale, her breathing shallow. "Hey!" He rushed to her side, holding her shoulders. "Stay with me. You're burning yourself out." Her eyes opened weakly. "Safe, for now." "No," he said firmly. "Not safe. Not anymore. We can't stay here." She shook her head faintly. "Run. They find. Always find." He clenched his fists. "Then what do we do? Just hide forever?" Her lips trembled. She whispered, "Need. Place far. No signal. No eyes." He thought hard. A memory came to him, his late grandfather's. Cabin, deep in the woods, miles away from the city. Old, broken down, but hidden. No electricity, no signals. "I know a place," he said quickly. "But it's far. We'll have to drive." She tried to sit up, but he stopped her gently. "Rest. I'll get things ready." He packed a bag in silence, grabbing food, water, and anything useful. His hands shook the entire time. He wasn't ready for this. He wasn't a hero. But somehow fate had dragged him into a fight far bigger than himself. When he returned to the room, she was staring at him with those glowing eyes. "You stay," she said softly. "You could leave me, but you stay." He met her gaze. "I don't know why, but I can't walk away." A faint smile touched her lips. "Then maybe." "I safe." He helped her stand. Her legs were weak, but she leaned against him for support. Together, they moved carefully down the stairs and out the back door. The street was quiet, the van's gone for now. He led her quickly to his old car parked by the side. As he opened the door for her, a sudden chill ran through him. He looked up at the sky. Far above, among the clouds, a strange shape hovered silent, dark, watching. His breath caught. "Oh no." She followed his gaze, and her eyes widened. "Not human," she whispered. "They find us." Before he could ask more, the object vanished into the clouds, leaving only silence. He helped her into the car, his heart pounding. "Then we'd better move fast." The engine roared to life, and the car rolled onto the road. As the house disappeared behind them, he couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't running to safety. They were running into something much darker. And for the first time, he realized the truth. He hadn't just rescued her. He was now part of her world. The old car rattled as it sped down the empty road. His hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. Every few seconds he glanced at the sky, expecting to see the strange dark shape again. The girl sat beside him, silent, but alert, her glowing eyes watching the passing trees. She broke the silence at last. "Where we go?" He kept his eyes forward. "There's a cabin. My grandfather's place. It's deep in the woods. No one goes there anymore. No electricity, no signal. If we're lucky, they won't find us." She leaned back in the seat. Weak but calm. "Cabin. Safe. Good." The reassurance in her voice should have comforted him, but it didn't. Every shadow on the roadside felt alive. Every sound outside the car made his heart jump. He wasn't sure if anywhere was truly safe anymore. For a long time they drove in silence. Then she turned to him suddenly, her voice soft but firm. "You think I trouble for you?" He glanced at her quickly, then back to the road. "You are trouble, but trouble I can't ignore." Her lips curved faintly, almost a smile. "You different, humans, afraid. You stay. I don't know if that makes me brave or stupid," he muttered. She tilted her head, studying him with those silver eyes. "It makes you human. Real human." Her words sat heavy in his chest. He wasn't sure if she meant it as a compliment or a warning. The drive stretched on until the city lights faded and the forest swallowed the road. Finally, he turned onto a narrow dirt path. The car bounced and groaned, but kept moving. After nearly an hour, the old cabin came into view, a small wooden structure half hidden by tall trees. He parked the car behind the cabin, out of sight, and killed the engine. Silence filled the air. She stepped out carefully, leaning on him. For balance, her glowing eyes scanned the forest. "Quiet," she said softly. "Good place." He unlocked the cabin door and pushed it open. Dust floated in the dim light, the air heavy with the smell of wood and earth. It was old, but it would have to do. He lit a lantern and set it on the table. She moved slowly around the room, touching the walls, the furniture, as if trying to understand the place. "This will work," he said. "We'll stay here until, I don't know, until it's safe." She looked at him with a serious expression. "Safe never, only safer." He swallowed hard. "Then safer will have to be enough." That night, the forest outside was alive with sounds: owls, rustling leaves, distant howls. He lay awake on a thin mattress, staring at the ceiling. The girl sat nearby, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "Why do you keep looking at me?" he asked finally. She hesitated before answering. "Because I afraid. If I close eyes, maybe you gone." He turned his head toward her. "I'm not going anywhere." She nodded slowly. "I know, but still, afraid." He sighed. "You're not the only one." For a long time neither of them spoke. The only sound was the wind brushing through the trees. Then suddenly, a strange hum filled the cabin. Not from outside, inside. He sat up quickly. "What is that?" Her body stiffened, her glowing eyes widened. "Not me." The humming grew louder, vibrating through the wooden walls. He rushed to the window and peeked outside. His blood ran cold. Strange lights moved between the trees, scanning beams of white that cut through the darkness. Figures followed, tall, shadowy, moving too smoothly to be human. "They found us," he whispered. She was already on her feet, swaying but determined. "Not humans," she said. "Other kind? Aliens?" he asked, his voice shaking. She nodded. "They want me back." He grabbed her hand. "Then we run." But she pulled back, her face grim. "No, they follow if we run. They stop only if I fight." He stared at her. "You can't even stand properly. If you fight, you'll die." Her lips trembled, but her eyes stayed firm. "Better me die than you." He shook his head fiercely. "No, I didn't save you just to lose you now. We'll hide." The lights outside drew closer. Shadows moved past the windows, long and strange. A low, otherworldly sound filled the air, like whispers in a language he couldn't understand. He pulled her toward the back of the cabin. "Come on." They slipped out through the back door and into the dark forest. The night swallowed them as they ran, branches snapping under their feet. The lights behind them grew brighter, chasing them. Through the trees, she stumbled, and he caught her just in time. "Keep going," he urged. Her breathing was shallow, her voice weak. "Can't run long." He pulled her along, his own lungs burning. "Then we'll hide, just a little further." At last they reached a hollow in the earth, hidden by thick bushes. He pushed her inside and crouched low beside her. They both held their breath. The lights swept across the forest, moving slowly, searching. Strange figures glided past, tall and thin, their shapes not fully clear in the darkness. Their whispers filled the air, sharp and chilling. He clenched his fists, every muscle tense. If they found the hollow, there was nothing he could do. Minutes passed like hours. The lights moved further away, the whispers fading. Finally, silence returned. He let out a shaky breath and turned to her. She was trembling, her face pale, but her eyes met his, glowing softly. "You save again," she whispered. He shook his head. "No, we just got lucky." She leaned closer, her voice almost breaking. "Not luck, you, always you." For a moment, he forgot the danger, the fear, the endless chase. For a moment, it was just her and him, breathing in the dark, holding on to the one thing they had left each other. But deep down, he knew this wasn't over. They had escaped tonight, But the shadows would return, humans, aliens both. And each time it would get harder to survive. He looked at her, fragile yet unbreakable, and whispered, "We'll keep running. We'll keep fighting, I promise." Her glowing eyes softened, and she nodded. Together. The forest was silent again. But the silence felt heavy, full of secrets yet to come. The forest was quiet after the chase, but he knew the silence would not last. He sat in the hollow with the strange girl beside him, both of them breathing hard. Her glowing eyes flickered weakly, the light inside her fading with exhaustion. "They won't stop," he whispered, staring into the trees. "First the men in black, now those things. We can't keep running forever." She leaned against him, her voice soft but sharp. "They hunt. Always hunt. Until I caught." He clenched his fists. "Not if I can help it." Her hand touched his arm gently. "You human. Small. They strong. You can't fight them." He looked into her silver eyes. "Maybe not, but I won't let them take you." A faint smile touched her lips. "You strange. Human. Always protect me, even when you afraid." "I'm terrified," he admitted. "But that doesn't matter." The moment was fragile, almost peaceful, until a sudden sound broke the silence. Distant barking. Dogs. His chest tightened. "They're using dogs now," he muttered. The girl's eyes widened. "Humans," she whispered. "Close." He pulled her up quickly. "We have to move, now." They stumbled through the dark forest, branches snapping under their feet. The barking grew louder, joined by shouting voices. Flashlights cut through the night behind them. "Go," he urged, pulling her along, but she stumbled, her body weak. "I slow you," she said, gasping. "Leave me." He stopped and grabbed her shoulders firmly. "I told you, I'm not leaving you. Ever." Her eyes shone with something more than fear, trust. She nodded weakly, and they pushed forward together. The forest thinned, and ahead he saw the faint outline of an abandoned building, an old barn, half collapsed but still standing. "There," he said. "We can hide inside." They rushed toward it, slipping through a broken doorway, just as flashlights swept across the trees behind them. Inside, the barn smelled of dust and rot. Broken tools lay scattered, and the floor creaked under their weight. He pulled her into the shadows, crouching low. The barking grew closer. Men's voices echoed outside. "Check the barn," one shouted. His heart pounded. He looked at her. She was trembling, her light dimming. "I can't hide us again," she whispered. "No energy." He swallowed hard. "Then we'll fight." She shook her head. "You fight, you die." The barn door groaned as it swung open. Flashlight beams cut through the darkness. Heavy boots crunched on the floorboards. He held his breath, pressing closer to her. 2 men entered, their lights sweeping across the room. A dog sniffed the ground, barking sharply. "They're here," one man said. Before they could move closer, a strange humming sound filled the air, not from her this time, but from outside. The men froze. "What's that?" A blinding light burst through the barn roof. The dog yelped and bolted. The men shouted in panic. He shielded his eyes, pulling her close. "What's happening?" Her eyes widened with fear. "Not humans," she whispered. "Aliens." The roof creaked as a dark shape descended, huge and silent. Strange symbols glowed on its surface. A low, otherworldly hum vibrated through the barn. The men dropped their flashlights, backing away. "Fall back now," one shouted. But before they could escape, a beam of light swept down, freezing them in place. They stood motionless there, bodies stiff, their eyes blank. He stared in horror. "What are they doing to them?" The girl's voice shook. "Taking, using." "Using for what?" She didn't answer. Instead, she clutched his hand tightly. "We must run, now." He didn't argue. They slipped through a gap in the broken wall and fled into the trees. leaving the paralyzed men behind. As they ran, the hum grew louder, the ground trembled beneath them. He risked a glance back. The ship hovered above the barn, beams of light sweeping across the forest like searching eyes. His heart hammered. "They're looking for you," she nodded, her face pale. "They know I close." They ran until their lungs burned, finally collapsing beside a stream. The water shimmered under the moonlight. He cupped his hands and drank, his chest heaving. She knelt beside him, her reflection glowing faintly in the water. "We can't keep this up," he said between breaths. "They'll catch us sooner or later." She touched the water lightly, watching the ripples. "I never free," she whispered. "Always hunted, always alone." He shook his head. "Not anymore." "You're not alone now." Her eyes met his, soft and sad. "You say that. But when danger comes, maybe you leave." He reached out and held her hand firmly. "I won't, I swear." For a moment, silence wrapped around them. The forest seemed calm again. But then, a new sound broke the quiet engines. He looked up sharply. Across the hill, dark shapes moved. Not vans, something else. Military trucks. His stomach dropped. They called in the army. The girl's eyes widened. Humans and aliens, both together now. The trucks stopped nearby. Soldiers jumped out, scanning the area with night vision goggles. He cursed under his breath. "We're trapped." She squeezed his hand. "Not trapped. Not yet." "What do you mean?" he asked. She stood slowly, her glowing eyes brightening. "I show you, my power, real power." He grabbed her arm. "No. Every time you use it, it hurts you. It drains you. You'll die." Her lips trembled, but her gaze was steady. "Better die free than live prisoner." Before he could stop she stepped into the clearing. Her body glowed brighter, light spreading across her skin like fire. The soldiers froze, shielding their eyes. The hum from the alien ship in the distance grew louder, almost in response. "Stop!" he shouted, running to her. "You don't have to do this alone." She turned her head slightly, her voice soft but fierce. "Then stand with me." He didn't know what he was doing, didn't know what would happen, but he moved beside her anyway. Her hand slipped into his, and for a moment, he felt the strange warmth of her power flowing into him. The ground shook. The trees bent under. A wave of invisible force. Soldiers stumbled back. The alien ship flickered in the sky. Then, silence. Her light faded, her body collapsing against him. He caught her, holding her tightly. "Stay with me, please." Her eyes fluttered open weakly. "I share with you. Now you part of me. They can't find you without finding me." He shook his head, tears burning his eyes. "Why would you do that?" Her faint smile broke his heart. "Because you choose me. Now, one choose you." In the distance, the soldiers regrouped. The ship circled above. The danger wasn't gone, but something inside him had changed. He could feel it, the faint hum in his chest, the warmth in his blood. She had given him part of her power, and now he was no longer just human. The night was heavy with silence after the burst of light. He held her close, her body weak in his arms. The forest around them smelled of smoke and fear. Somewhere in the distance, soldiers regrouped, and the alien ship circled above like a predator waiting for its prey. Her voice came out faint. "You feel it?" He frowned, his chest still trembling with strange energy. I don't know what this is, but something's inside me. Something alive." Her glowing eyes softened. "Part of me. I gave you, now we linked." He shook his head in disbelief. "Why? Why would you risk yourself like that?" "Because I cannot fight alone anymore," she whispered. "But together, maybe we survive." He looked down at his hands. They burned faintly, like invisible fire ran through his veins. He clenched his fists. "What am I now?" She coughed weakly. "Not human. Not alien, both." Before he could answer, The trees shook with the sound of boots. Soldiers moved closer, their flashlights cutting across the woods. "They're closing in," he muttered. The girl's body trembled. "You must use it, the power, or we die." He swallowed hard. "I don't even know how." "Feel it," she said, her voice urgent. "Trust it." The shadows of soldiers drew nearer. He could hear their radios, the metallic click of guns being loaded. His heart raced. For a moment, panic took over. But then he felt it, the hum in his chest, the warmth in his blood, the strange rhythm pulsing like a heartbeat not his own. He raised his hand. A wave of invisible force burst out, snapping branches, shaking the ground. The soldiers shouted. In alarm, stumbling backward, he stared at his hand wide-eyed. I did that." She gave a weak smile. "Yes, you learning." But the moment didn't last. The alien ship above glowed brighter, beams of light scanning the forest. The soldiers regrouped, pointing their weapons. "We need to move," he said quickly. "Come on." He helped her to her feet, and they stumbled through the trees again. His body felt strange, stronger, sharper. He could see clearer in the dark, hear whispers of movement far away. The world itself felt alive around him. But with the power came fear. What if he lost control? What if he hurt her instead of protecting her? They reached a small cave hidden by thick brush. He guided her inside, away from the open forest. She sank against the wall, breathing hard. "They won't stop. Not humans, not them." He crouched beside her. "Then we have to fight smarter, not just run." Her eyes flickered with doubt. "You think you can fight both armies? Human and alien?" He hesitated, then clenched his jaw. "If I have to." Her gaze softened. "You truly different. Any other human would run, save himself. But you stay." He gave a bitter laugh. "Maybe I'm just too stubborn to know better." They sat in silence for a moment, listening to the distant engines and shouts. Then she leaned closer, her voice low. "There is something I never tell you. My people, they not all like me. Some want peace, some want power. Those who hunt me, they are not soldiers only. They are gatherers, they take humans. Change them, use them." His chest tightened. "Use them for what?" Her eyes darkened. "War." The word hung heavy in the cave. He swallowed. "So the soldiers, the men in black, even the army, they're all just pawns. The real enemy is bigger." She nodded slowly. "Yes, and now you are part of it too." He pressed his back against the cave wall, running a hand through his hair. "Then we can't just keep hiding. We need answers. We need to know why they want you so badly." Her lips trembled. "Because I am key. I carry code inside me. A map." He turned sharply to her. "A map to what?" Her silence said enough. He grabbed her shoulders gently, forcing her to meet his eyes. "If I'm going to protect you, I need the truth. No more secrets." Her glowing eyes softened with sadness. "A map to the core, to the place where power sleeps. If they find it, both worlds will burn." The words sank deep into him. He had thought survival was hard enough. But now, this was bigger than both of them. Outside, a deep rumble shook the ground. The cave vibrated, dust falling from the ceiling. The alien ship had landed nearby. She gasped. "They hear." He stood quickly. "Then it's time we stop running." She tried to rise, but her body was weak. "You can't fight them all." "Maybe not," he said, determination in his voice. "But with this power, maybe I can slow them down. Long enough for us to escape." Her hand reached for his. "Don't lose yourself. The power. It changes you if you use too much." He gave her hand a squeeze. "Then keep me human." Before she could answer, the cave entrance exploded with light. Figures stepped in tall, armored, alien. Their faces were hidden behind silver masks, their weapons glowing. One of them spoke in a language he didn't know, the sound harsh and echoing. The girl's eyes widened. They say, "Surrender, or they take you too." He stepped in front of her. His fists clenched. "They'll have to kill me first." The alien raised its weapon. The hum in his chest roared to life. His vision sharpened. He thrust his hand forward, and a wave of raw energy blasted out. The alien was thrown back against the wall, its weapon shattering. The others roared in fury, firing beams of light. He dodged, the power inside guiding his movements. He felt unstoppable, terrified, but unstoppable. The girl shouted, her voice echoing in his mind. "Don't give too much, you'll burn." But the rush was intoxicating. Each strike, each blast of energy made him feel stronger, more alive. Until suddenly, his knees buckled, his vision blurred. The warmth turned to fire, scorching him from the inside. He fell, gasping. The girl crawled to his side, placing her hand on his chest. Her light flowed into him, calming the fire. He breathed again. "You see?" she whispered fiercely. "Together, not alone." The surviving aliens retreated, dragging their fallen comrade. The ship above hummed loudly, then pulled away into the sky. For now, they were safe. He lay back, staring at the cave ceiling. His body ached, but he was alive. She leaned against him, her glow faint but steady. They won't stop. Next time, stronger ones come. He closed his eyes, holding her close. "Then we'll be ready." She was silent for a long time before whispering, "You are changing. You're not just human anymore. Do you fear it?" He opened his eyes, staring into the darkness. "Yes, but if this is what it takes to protect you, and maybe even both worlds, then I'll take the risk." Her hand tightened around his. "Then I believe in you." The cave grew quiet again, but the storm outside was far from over. Somewhere above, both humans and aliens were preparing. The hunt wasn't ending. It was only beginning. And now he wasn't just running anymore. He was fighting back. The forest was quiet, but the air felt heavy. He and the girl sat hidden near the stream, the faint glow from her body lighting the darkness. The alien power still coursed through his veins, strange and foreign, making every heartbeat feel like electricity. "We can't stay here," he whispered. "They'll find us again." She nodded, her silver eyes flickering weakly. "Yes, but where go? Every path, danger." He clenched his fists. "Then we follow the map. You said it leads to the core, right? That's where everything ends or begins." Her glowing eyes widened. "Yes, but dangerous." "Beyond danger, humans, aliens, both want. You ready?" He looked at her face, pale but determined. "I have to be ready. For you, and maybe for everyone." She smiled faintly. "Then we start." They moved carefully through the forest, avoiding any signs of human patrols. The moonlight guided them, but the shadows felt alive. Every rustle, every distant howl made his muscles tense. He could feel the power inside him pulsing, responding to the fear around him. After hours, they reached a cliff overlooking a valley filled with strange energy lights. The map, embedded inside her mind, glowed faintly in his chest, guiding him. "This is it," she whispered. "The core below. Dangerous. Do not fall." He nodded. "I won't." The descent was slow and treacherous. Rock shifted underfoot, and the wind howled. At one point, she slipped, but he grabbed her arm. "You'll pull me down," she gasped. "I'll hold you," he said firmly. "I won't let you go." Finally, they reached a plateau at the center of the valley. The ground beneath them pulsed with strange light, glowing lines stretching across the earth like veins of energy. "This is the core," she said, her voice trembling. "This power. It can give life or destroy it. Both humans and aliens want it," he swallowed. "Then we have to stop them from taking it, no matter what." Suddenly, the air shimmered, and figures appeared, human soldiers and alien hunters working together. They had tracked them here. You can't escape. A man shouted, pointing a glowing rifle. She stepped forward, her body glowing brighter. "They not take me," she said. "Not today." He felt the power inside him surge. He reached out instinctively, and a wave of force knocked the first row of enemies off their feet. Trees bent, rocks flew, and the ground shook. The humans and aliens recovered quickly, attacking in unison. Beams of energy and gunfire cut through the air. "Hold on!" He shouted to her, grabbing her hand. She looked at him, eyes wide. "You control it better now. I'm trying." He yelled, sending another burst of energy that created a barrier around them. The battle raged, a storm of energy, noise, and motion. But then he saw movement in the shadows. A figure, not like the others, taller, cloaked in darkness, its eyes glowing red. "Who is that?" he asked, fear creeping in. She swallowed hard. "Leader, the one who controls both sides. Wants the core for himself." He narrowed his eyes. "Then we end him." The figure raised a hand, and a massive wave of energy surged toward them. He and the girl braced themselves. His new power flared instinctively, pushing back the attack. The impact threw them both to the ground. "Are you okay?" she whispered, catching her breath. "I will be," he said, standing. "We fight together." They moved forward, side by side, as the leader advanced. The ground beneath them glowed brighter, reacting to their presence. He could feel the energy connecting him to the girl, guiding his actions. "You cannot win." The leader boomed. "This power belongs to me." "Not if we fight," he shouted back. He released a massive pulse of energy, sending the leader stumbling. The force created a shockwave that knocked over trees and enemies alike. The girl stepped closer, her glow intertwining with his power. "Together!" she cried. The combined energy surged forward, striking the leader. His red eyes widened in shock, and the figure was thrown back, crashing into the glowing lines of the core. The ground shook violently. He stumbled, holding her hand tightly. "Are you all right?" She nodded, glowing faintly, exhausted but alive. "Yes, for now." The remaining soldiers and aliens scattered, retreating. The core pulsed, now calm. But its energy hummed in the air. He looked around, breathing hard. "We did it. We stopped them?" She gave a weak smile. "Yes, but only for now. Power always calls. Others will come. They always come." He looked at the glowing lines beneath them. "Then we protect it, together." Her eyes softened, and she leaned on him. "You human, you become more than human. You saved me. You saved the core. Together, maybe we change everything." He held her close. "We'll do it together." No more running. For a long moment, the valley was silent, except for the low hum of the core. The danger wasn't gone completely, but for the first time, he felt hope. They had survived, they had fought back, and they had each other. She looked up at him, her glowing eyes meeting his. "Tomorrow, we start again. But tonight, rest." He nodded, holding her tightly. "Rest, we earned it." As they sat there, the stars reflected in her glowing eyes, he realized something. The journey wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about choice. And with her by his side, he felt ready to face whatever came next, human, alien, or power beyond imagination. The night whispered around them, full of promise and danger, but they faced it together, and for the first time. He understood what she had meant when she said they were linked. He wasn't just her protector, he was part of her. And she was part of him. No matter what came, no matter how dark future, they would face it as one.